Did you smoke this morning what Gary smoked yesterday?
Please, I don't think anybody can smoke what Gary smoked
No,
yesterday.
but you're looking good. I like the effect
Ah,
of what you're wearing.
thank you very much. Thank you.
It's
Thank you.
unfortunate that you're on radio.
They will be showing.
They
We'll
will-
be showing it on social media, no doubt. We're on Facebook Live. Just look for Joy 99.7 FM. We're also on YouTube.
but otherwise, how are you doing?
I'm very well, Uncle Ibu.
Okay.
I'm very well. Good to see you. Now, you know what is said to have so many styles and positions, so many myths around it, so many facts about it, yet only one ideal endpoint of pleasing your partner: sex. People often brag about it, but the question is, are they doing it right? Leading playwright and author Uncle Abel White will give clues to the answers to the question in this latest book titled Let's Talk About Sex. It's a book aimed at spicing the activities of couples in the bedroom department, and the book will be launched at the plush Labadi Beach Hotel on the 20th of July 2021 at 6 p.m. This event is strictly by invitation, COVID and all that. But however, it will be streamed live on Uncle Ibu White's Facebook and YouTube channels. You can pre-order your copy by calling 050 554 6010, or you can send a WhatsApp to 050-554-6030, or an email to info@rovermanproductions.com. Pre-order your copies now. Roverman Productions. Be the difference.
Oh, and if you are a regular follower of this, a fan of Food for Thought, and you want to be there at the launch, call 050-554-6010 and then ask for an invitation to be given to you. And then let's have fun.
Isn't that nice? Wow, quite an opportunity there.
Because this morning, I continue with my series on my life journey in preparation for my 67th birthday, which falls next week, Tuesday, 20th of July. I was regarded as the least likely person to succeed in my family and among my childhood playmates. I explained on Monday that my introvert nature made it very easy for people to dismiss me. What transformed me from the least likely person to succeed to what I am today is a decision I took when I was barely in my teens. I decided not to pick my role models from the boys and the men in the neighborhood, but from the Bible. And so I picked Joseph, David, and Daniel. I will now explain why I picked each of them. Joseph is one of the characters whose story we are permitted to follow from his birth to his death at age 110. When Joseph was 17, his older brothers conspired and sold him into slavery to Egypt. In Egypt, he found favor with his master, Captain Potiphar, and soon won the total trust of this man. The favor did not last, however, because Mrs. Potiphar tried to seduce him, and when she did not succeed, she accused him of attempting to molest her sexually. That sent Joseph to prison. But thanks to his special gift for interpreting dreams, Joseph finally found himself taken from prison to stand before Pharaoh to interpret the dreams of that powerful king. The correct interpretation of the dream earned Joseph not just a discharge from prison, but made him the number 2 man to Pharaoh himself. And it was in this exalted position that his brothers found themselves prostrating before him without realizing that it was Joseph they were bowing down to. Because I felt rejected by the community on account of my introvert nature, the betrayal of Joseph by his brothers in selling him into slavery struck a chord with me. I could identify with his loneliness and his feeling of alienation in a foreign land, because I also felt like I was living in a foreign land, in a society where my very nature was unacceptable and subject to ridicule. I admired Joseph's pursuit of excellence in service, first for his father, and secondly for Captain Potiphar. I loved what was written about his service and his pursuit of excellence. In Genesis chapter 39, verse 6, we read, quote, "So Potiphar left everything he had in Joseph's care. With Joseph in charge, He did not concern himself with anything except the food he ate. End of quote. In other words, no, in those words, I saw a man who was dependable and trustworthy, and I yearned to be found as trustworthy as Joseph, and I guided my life and my career by that. From Joseph, I also learned to think outside the box and to be solution oriented. Joseph's ability to be innovative and think outside the box saved Egypt from famine. And again, I made it my goal to always think of solutions no matter how challenging the situation. Let me now go on to my second role model from the Bible, and that was David. Unlike Joseph, we are not given the details of his birth, but we are introduced to him when he was still a boy. What most people know David by is that he killed the giant Goliath and later became the king of Israel and Judah. I love the story of David offering to put his life and his faith on the line to take on Goliath. As you may remember, Goliath seemed so invincible that for 40 days the Israelite army fled before him. But David, knowing what God had taken him through, was sure that he, with God's help, could defeat the giant. His courageous offer to take on Goliath was reported to the desperate King Saul. And this is what the king said to him, quote, "You are not able to go out against this Philistine and fight him. You are only a young man, and he has been a warrior from his youth." End of quote. To that, David said, and again I'm quoting, "Your servant has been keeping his father's sheep. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth. When it turned on me, I seized it by its hair, struck it, and killed it." End of quote. And then he said to the king, quote, "The Lord who rescued me from the paw of the lion and the paw of the bear will rescue me from the hand of this Philistine." End of quote. David, as my role model, taught me to apply my faith in God to every situation. He taught me to let my faith in God make me strong and confident enough to take on any challenge I need to confront. David taught me not to allow anything to go wrong with anything that has been put in my care, just as he did not allow any harm to come to any sheep in his care. The third role model I picked from the Bible was Daniel. From Daniel, I learned to be the difference, which is now the tagline of my company, Roverman. Daniel's case could have been a disaster because he was a boy when he was captured in battle and taken to Babylon. The king of Babylon decided to select some of the captives to retrain and reorient to serve Babylon. To this end, the Babylonization of the Hebrew captives of war began. The selected boys were to be taught the language and literature of the Babylonians and were assigned food daily from the king's table. The training was to last 3 years. In the book of Daniel, chapter 1, verse 8, we read, quote, "But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and he asked the chief official permission not to defile himself this way." End of quote. Daniel resolved to be different for the sake of God, and from him I learned that those who want to honor God sometimes have to swim against the tide. From Daniel, I also learned to value integrity even in public service. Daniel served so well in this foreign land that he found favor with every king who sat on the throne. Most officials are shoved aside when the king they served dies, but Daniel found favor with every new king and earned promotion with every new king until he was one of 3 administrators appointed by Darius over the whole kingdom. The Bible says, quote, "Now Daniel so distinguished himself among the administrators and the satraps by his exceptional qualities that the king planned to set him over the whole kingdom." End of quote. When news of the king's intention to elevate Daniel leaked, the other administrators decided that there was no way they were going to have Daniel, a foreigner, be higher than them. They also knew Daniel so well that they knew that they could not find any fault with him. So, to get their way, they decided that the only way to get Daniel into trouble was to make his worship of Yahweh a crime. I've always been challenged by that. Imagine having a public officer on whom no debt can be found, no matter how hard you look. A public officer whose integrity is so impeccable that the only way to put him into trouble is to make the worship and fear of God in him a treasonable offense. So, those are the three role models whose influence have guided my life from my early teens till now. Now, I have a question for you. Who are your role models, and how well have have their influence served you? And Kojo, that is my presentation for today.
Wow, that's thought-provoking. Thought-provoking. Yeah. Do you know, quite strangely, for a long time, I didn't actually realize that I had a role model I was avidly modeling my life after.
Yeah.
It didn't occur to me until later when I realized, you know what? I very often take cues from the way this person
From some of these,
acts, you know, and
And when it comes to dressing, you are my role model.
yeah,
Not what you do when you are in the dress, but
no,
when-
but Akribo is going to bring matter for me. That was food for thought. And Akribo returns on Monday with even more. Make sure you don't miss it. And look out for that book. Let's talk about sex. All right, the Joy Business Minute is up now, brought to you by Consolidated Bank Ghana. CBG, we stand with you.